I was gonna say Canon 4 TV, but it's the legends assemble, man. I mean, how many legends can you get in all one space? Let me get this right. I've got Glenwyn doing the matters. I've got who have I else? I've got Glenn from everything Arsenal. I've got Apollo for Is it Arsenal 1-1 or 1-1 on Arsenal Apollo?
101 on Arsenal.
Right. Okay. I always get it.
Yeah, the confusion is the Facebook page. It says Arsenal #101, but
yeah,
I'll have to change it.
Yeah, and I've got Vincey.
Yes, man.
Probably my original brother from another mother, as well as Glenwyn and Apollo and Glenn. What's going on, man? What's going on?
You've got 5 mothers, bro.
Yeah. Someone was busy. Anyway. So this is going to be a series of collaborations. This is something that we tried to do last year with Apollo and of course Glenn. It was last year, wasn't it? It was last year.
Yeah.
But I couldn't keep it up because on a Sunday, for me, that's family time, man. But anyway, we're here. So guys, Apollo, how you been doing, man?
I think it's
He is good.
Yeah, been doing good. I'm elated, and as you can see, I'm wearing my favorite Arsenal jersey this season. In the face of the fan. Yeah, I'm being exotic, man, and I'm loving it. So I told them I'm gonna rub it in their face every week. So it's gonna be proper tatters by the end of the season.
The funny thing is, it's like I remember when the Bruised Banana top came out, and people were saying, "Oh, that's horrible." I'm like, now it's a classic, isn't it?
Exactly.
It's a classic. So give it 30 years, Apollo. Anyway, Glenn, how you been keeping, Glenn?
I am good. I'm absolutely good. I seriously cannot wait for this season. Like, I'm absolutely buzzing. This is the first time, like, I'm genuinely looking forward to a season, thinking we're actually going to win trophies. So I'm really, really good and really looking forward to this season.
Well, they say it's the hope that kills you, isn't it? So... Vincey, brother, finally on Canon 4 TV, man.
Finally, man. It's a blessing, man. It's been a while, but you know what? Everything comes at the right time. And as I say, the vibe around the family, the Arsenal family, is like this season, after all the adversity of the past 2 years, something's good on the horizon. So, yeah, man. Great to be on the channel, and finally, good things are around the corner for us all.
Yeah, and last but not least, just around the corner in South Africa, Glenwyn, brother, what's happening, man?
Hey, bro, it's all good. We're happy, we're safe, we're healthy, and that's what counts, bro.
Yeah, nice one. So, we got our first trophy of the season, Apollo.
Yeah,
Second.
You know what? Actually, officially the first domestic trophy. So a lot of people are saying, is it a trophy? Is it not a trophy? It's counted as an official domestic trophy, the first out of 5 in the season. So yeah, we've bagged it, and I'm really happy. I'm kind of happy more with the performance than I am with the result, because the result can tell you different things that can cover over the cracks. But the performance is something that we're definitely going to talk about now, this evening. And that's what I'm really, really, really happy about, just the performance.
Okay, good. And Glenn, for you, the game yesterday, Man City, have we gotten over some kind of psychological barrier with Man City now, or...?
That's how I feel. That's exactly how I feel. Just like Apollo said, it was the performance. Like, for me, I was actually happy with the performance. They scored fast. They looked like they're going to win the game. But I was like, you know what? We actually played well today, so I would take this 1-0 loss. Hoping the next one things would change. So even if you had lost the game, I would still have been happy. But obviously, the way we played, we kind of deserved something from that game. And scoring in that last minute, I think, in terms of psychology and everything, in terms of the team, from the manager, they want to say, obviously, we celebrated all that. You have to celebrate that trophy, and it's a win over Man City. They scored only 1 goal against us. We've been worried about our defense, so a lot of positives to take from yesterday. So pretty happy with that performance, and pretty happy. I actually feel like those players, I really want them to win a lot. So really happy for them to start. This is a start. You have to start from somewhere.
Absolutely. Last but not least, Cozzy's in the house. Cozzy, brother. You all right, man?
Yes, man.
Yeah? How you been keeping?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Good,
We're
good, good.
Doing good.
We're,
All
we're
good, man. All
They're
good.
doing good,
Very,
man.
very
Nice to see you. Nice to see your old smile.
Yeah,
We have
we
to,
got a
yeah.
lot to smile about, brother. We got a
Yeah.
lot to smile.
Yeah.
Don't let it fool you, Kazi, because when we lose, we also smile.
But Cosy, the game yesterday, that result, has it papered over some cracks for you, or literally is this a sign of things to come now in the new season for you, Cosy?
Well, it was a good game. I would say it was our preseason game, to be honest. Like it's the game that I watched and I was very confident. You look at the Barcelona game. There were a few things there that were really not going very well. Man United, they really did expose us. And the Major League Soccer as well, the All-Stars, we did have a couple of issues with physicality. Yesterday, we ticked a couple of boxes. Physically, I thought we were up to the challenge. I also thought that we did create some good chances. Maybe finishing is the only thing that I've already said actually whole preseason. And in that game, it was in my match reaction. The finishing, maybe a striker probably, but the finishing is still lacking. But it was our best preseason game. And if we're going to play like this all season, the future is bright. It's really bright. And I don't know if you guys have actually looked at this, but there have been some kind of oscillations between games. There are times when we played very well, especially in preseason, in one game, and then the other game we played a little bit, maybe not so well. At times we played very well in the first half and well in the second half. But yesterday, apart from the first 20 minutes where Man City were really all over us, after those first 20 minutes, we actually grew into the game. We played much better. We were very confident. I saw many players try to get on the ball, and we were not actually giving it away. So the fact that we had Rice as one of the best players on the pitch, that is in midfield, against Rodri, against Kovacic, against Bernardo Silva, it tells the story. So I think we will still dominate games, and we might actually dominate better than last campaign. I'm positive. I'm a little bit positive. I do have my own worries, like maybe if we'll talk about the season and kind of the preview the season, I'll talk about them. I do have my concerns and worries, but so far not so bad. Not so bad.
Okay. Vincey, why did he not start Trossard?
Do you know what? I'm happy he didn't, because I think we all know what Trossard can do, but I think with the issues with Jesus, I understand why he's really got to get Havertz up and running as quick as possible, because I don't think Eddie played a lot in the Emirates Cup, so it made sense to get Havertz in there, get some continuity, because he was struggling in some of the other preseason games with the continuity, and we need to hit the Premiership running. So I don't have a problem with Trossard coming off the bench, because you can see what we needed, somebody with his intensity to come off the bench with Edu, and they got us back into the game. So I'm just hoping that for Forest we can do a number on them, because we haven't done a number on Forest for a few games, so it's not a straightforward victory. So yeah, I've got problems with that.
Yeah, I just want to add to that as well. It seems obviously pre-season is about tinkering. It's about integrating players. It's about understanding the new roles of certain players. And I think, and I'm with you guys, I wanted Trossard to start because I think he's earned that right in the pre-season. But, in hindsight, it's clear that Arteta knows everything he needs to know about Trossard. There isn't anything about Trossard he doesn't know. So that's a done deal. That's a foregone conclusion. He's nailed that in. But what he doesn't understand and what he's working on and what he's still experimenting with are those players like Declan Rice's new role and Karl Havertz to play a role which he hasn't played in 4 years since he was in Bayer Leverkusen. So there's a lot to do with it, and that's you can see clearly he needs more information. He needs more footage on film so that when they get back to London Coney, he can then present more of an understanding of what they're trying to do in this system.
Apollo,
That's
before I
probably
go
the best
to
explanation for
Glenwyn,
it.
here's a dead question for you. Do you think Arsenal are going to win the Premier League this season?
Ooh.
I did.
Oh, good. You
I
went
did.
straight
No
out
hold
with that
barred,
one.
man.
We're supposed to
messing
end the
about.
stream. Yeah, we're supposed to end the stream with that. Okay,
That's on the
so
spot.
right. So before yesterday, I would have said that they had a 75% chance of winning it. After yesterday, I think they've got a 90% chance of winning the league, and that's the best I can offer for now. And I won't stay long on the subject, but I will say my reasons for that is because we already know that they're a good team. We already know that they can beat anyone in the league except for Man City. And what we haven't seen is them change City with Arteta's limited experience of only 3 years. He's growing as a manager, and the thing that we haven't seen him do really well is have a plan B for Man City and rotate his players. And I think yesterday we saw signs of Arteta, his growth. And if he continued to do that and overcome Man City, as well as the deficiencies of Man City, which is them losing their captain Gundogan, is going to be huge. Not to mention, Mahrez came on and won 11 games for them last season, and he's gone. So they've got issues to sort out too. I think Arsenal have moved a step ahead. I think Man City maybe have dropped a little, but I don't think they've improved as a team. I think that they'll be there or thereabouts, but I think Arsenal has made a step forward, which quite frankly, I didn't think that they were able to do, because I think they were that good last season with not too many weaknesses. But I definitely think after what I've seen that they've taken a step ahead. So I would say at this point now, I'd give them a 90% chance of winning the league, which is good.
Right, that's quite high.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'll probably go for maybe 65. But anyway, we're not going to
That's
stay on that
huge.
point. Glenwyn, your thoughts about the game yesterday, Man City? A psychological barrier overcome?
Definitely. I mean, we said it last year as when we invited Liverpool to Emirates, we won them, and we went to Anfield and we got not easy. We've got 2 good goals in the first half, and then obviously bottled it at the end. But our barrier with Liverpool is broken, and yesterday I saw toe to toe with Man City, even though Gundogan and Mahrez not there. Still a huge, perfectly balanced side in City. And we went up for it. I mean, again, the result is not the best. It's not the best view of the game. I feel Arsenal had one on Man City yesterday, purely because, again, if you look at the stats, it's 11 to 8 fouls each. Man City 11, Arsenal 8. Rodri, to me, it is a protected fella in the Premier League. I mean, I've said it before, and I'll always say it. He had to have a yellow card, irrespective. I mean, we gave as good as we got. So the goals, it is fairly a lucky goal for us. The goal for them, it's a brilliant goal from that young Palmer. It also gives you the idea, do they really miss Mahrez if you see that sort of quality in a goal type of thing, you know what I mean? So from a point of Arsenal, I think Arsenal went toe to toe with them. I think Arsenal had one better than them. And I think Havertz had a decent game because he had both Diaz and Stones ganging up on him. So there's one point, I mean, the first attempt on goal was slightly behind him, and he obviously had to turn and try and shoot. Didn't connect well. But the second one should have been in. But I see Arsenal topping that game yesterday by a little bit of inch, just better than them in the middle of the park. Because I mean, if we lose Partey, we are gonna see our backside. I mean, yesterday you could see Partey is very, very, very pivotal for us. He's an important player for us. Yes, he make a couple of mistakes still, but we can't lose him. We can't lose him. And I mean, even not even Rice, I think, will do the better job than Partey did yesterday.
Can I say something to back that point up?
Yeah.
I think that what we have to realize is that there's a defensive midfielder position, and Casemiro plays it well, Rodri plays it well, Partey is excellent at it, at protecting the back line. But the system and the tactics that Arsenal works, that number 6 role is different. It is not, in a sense, a defensive midfielder role, because you're being asked to start the attacks. Like, nothing happens with Odegaard and Saka and them guys unless Thomas Partey is in transition. And that's why, if you guys follow my channel, I'd say he's the best transitional player in the Premier League. There's other caveats that players may be better in terms of duels, interceptions, and tackles and whatever. But as far as getting the ball from the back line and bringing it to the forwards, there is no one better. And that is not the staple play of a defensive midfielder. That's not your job. Does that make sense?
That's creative.
Apollo, if you're saying that Thomas Partey is basically the king, or the person who makes Arsenal or the team click,
yes,
he cannot play 38 games in the season.
Agreed.
That's
yes,
not going to happen. So
agreed. I mean, they're fine with that because they have El Nene, who I love. They have Jorginho, who can deliver the ball as well as Partey, if not better. He just can't defend like Partey. So the word we're looking for is Arteta's found himself in a situational type of sort of player roles, and Partey is the best at what he does. And I don't think it's a case where people thought Declan Rice was going to come in here and play the number 6.
Going to partner up with him, no.
Yeah, because they want him to be like Xhaka. And then what we saw yesterday, that was what his role was, but it was slightly different. There was a bit of tinkering to that role, and we'll probably come on to that later on. But yeah, Partey is one of a kind at what he does.
Guys, thank you for being very, very patient. And again, it's the back 5. I don't remember Arsenal playing a back 6 in their history. There's 6 of us here. Have you ever played a back 6?
There's always a substitute.
Let's call you Mikel Arteta.
hey, listen, Alex. You know the 3 Musketeers? There was 4.
Yeah,
There's still 3.
D'Artagnan.
Glenn, when I looked at the game yesterday, I just didn't see a Man City getting beyond maybe second gear, if that. Or am I being too disingenuous to Arsenal?
I mean, I think we played well, but I do agree with you. I don't think they got like the levels they can. But as I always say as well, I don't also think Arsenal got the levels that we can. So if Man City can improve as well, I think Arsenal can improve. Obviously, they rotated the team. De Bruyne came off the bench. Foden came off the bench. If they started their fasting, they're pretty good. I don't agree. People saying they didn't take it seriously. I think they took it seriously. I think they would perform better in a Premier League game, in a Champions League game. But I think we also have to give Arsenal credit in terms of how we defended. I know we'll talk about Timber, like, oh my goodness, what a player. As Apollo said about Partey as well, Declan Rice. I mean, personally, I think Havertz played well. I think there's a lot of positives to take. And we have Zinchenko to add to that team. You have Jesus to add to that team. Maybe a couple of new signings as well. So I think it's a bit of both. Alex, Man City aren't at the top of their levels, and I still think Arsenal are not at the top of their levels as well.
Cozy, for you,
just to say something on that as well. I think we are almost in a similar stage as City. They're trying to find probably how to play without Gundogan for this season. And they've struggled maybe a little bit. They're trying a few things here and there. You've seen their preseason games. We are also trying to do the same thing, trying to play without Xhaka and find some new person in that role. Is it going to be Rice? Is it going to be Kai Havertz? Maybe Fabio Vieira? Maybe Emile Smith-Rowe? Trossard has played there as well. So I think none of the teams was at their best. We are literally still trying things. Kai Havertz has not played so many times for Arsenal there in preseason, and he played as a target man. And I thought he really did very well. Got himself in good spaces. Did finish. My problem with him, but I still think maybe 5-6 games into the season, we will see the best of Arsenal. We've settled down. Relationships have been formed. Rapports between players have actually been understood. The same as City. Kovacic has found his probably best way of playing with Manchester City, and the new best 11 with Manchester City.
But before I go to Vincey, we need players like Trossard, who basically last season hit the ground running.
Yeah.
And this is why I disagree with Apollo. I think we're not going to win the league because you've got to think about the players have to be accustomed to certain systems that Arteta will be asked them to play. And some players still need to understand the philosophy of their teammates. Listen, in the Premier League, we can't have any hangers on. We can't be dragging people on. But the question goes to you, Kossi. Do you think with this squad, Arsenal are ready to make a good goal in the Premier League?
Well, my statement, my prediction is that we'll have 10 more points than we had last season. Manchester City have set the bar too high. They've gone up to 100. I'm not sure if they will go there again, but we know they can't. They have the quality, the manager, and they're a group of players that have been together for quite a long period of time. But I really see Arsenal go 10 more points above what we got last campaign. The games where we conceded goals that we shouldn't have conceded, the games where we should have scored. Newcastle at home should have scored 1 goal, we killed that game. Everton, Goodson Park, it's difficult in a difficult area, but you've got to win there. I think we will have 10 more points. Will we win the league? That still depends on Manchester City. That depends on how quick City will get into a good shape, how many points they'll pick up, how Pep is looking to probably block more goals, trying to play a more defensive structure now, so they will not concede as many. I'm not really sure with this squad, you go 100% or 90%, we are going to win the league, but I don't think we are behind other clubs. I think we're still where we were last campaign. We are a little bit ahead of Man United. We are far ahead of Newcastle, far ahead of Chelsea, who are also, I don't know, in the middle or in the beginning stage of their rebuild. Ahead of Tottenham, like by miles. I kind of feel like top 3 is nailed on. Top 2 is debatable if Jurgen Klopp can get those 3 midfielders in and up and running. But the title, probably 60%. That is where I would be, and that is too optimistic. Very optimistic.
Okay. Just one more question, Kossi. There's still a few more time before the transfer window closes. Which areas do you think we need to beef up on? It might be.
Well, I think we've spent well. If we can get, I don't know whether Mikel will eventually become like, I want to go number 9. I want to go Erling Haaland. If he's going to do that, then we will need a goal scorer. I think we will need goals. Last campaign, we were really fluid. Our goals came from everywhere. Odegaard, 15. Can you back on him to give you 15 every campaign? Probably yes, probably no. Martinelli, 15. Can he score 15 every campaign? Probably yes, probably no. If you have a dedicated goal scorer, because we create real good chances. With Odegaard, with Trossard, 10 assists ever since he came in, right? I think half season. You're sure you will create chances, but we are not sure we will actually finish those chances, and that's what Manchester City have actually solved by signing Haaland. So for me, a player like maybe look, I don't like the way Dusan Vlahovic treated us and his agent. I just didn't like the disrespect, but we've got to be ruthless. If we are bringing in David Raya, that means we are ruthless. So if bringing in a player like Dusan Vlahovic guarantees us 25 goals a campaign, then go ruthless and get in a striker. I wouldn't really mind what happened in the past. So for me, it's centre forward.
Okay. Vincey. Premier League, I heard you say, when Apollo said 90%. And I went, oh.
Yeah, Premier League. It would be nice. It would be nice to dream, but I don't like to dream when it comes to football. I'm a serious man when it comes to football. I think the teams are very similarly matched. Arsenal can't do without Partey, and Man City can't do without De Bruyne. He can't play 38 games. But I think the problem we have is that Jesus is out injured. Okay? Now, we already saw last season, as good as Eddie did, that's the most amount of games that he's played consecutively, and it's took its toll on his body. So if you think about this season, if he does that again, we don't have another striker. So we now having to rely on the fluidity of how we move the ball and the goals from across our midfield and on our flanks. But you take the play out of Xhaka last season, and we've got Declan Rice. You're now asking Rice to come into the team, take over from where Xhaka did, and score goals. It's a huge pressure. And yes, we may distribute goals around the team, but I know even in the media, no one talks about the Arsenal-Everton, the first game last season at Goodison last year. That game for me was the blueprint for the rest of the league to take to, and they did it in Southampton, Brighton, Liverpool, Brentford. They messed about with us at the business end of the season. And that's where Arsenal struggle with the system, because we don't have a striker who can get us cheap goals. We need cheap goals to keep us in games. So, you know, we have to. I've always said, if you do the basics and you perform to the game plan, it gives you a chance. So I was happy that we had a game plan against City yesterday, but that game plan, Arteta is going to have to be fluid across the board in the games that we play to allow us the freshness to be able to, like you say, Trossard can play wherever he wants, and he knows where the goal is. If Havertz if he's not working, even if at half time or before half time, if he's not working, pull that trigger, because sometimes you can't wait until 70 minutes. Yeah. So for me, I'm 40-60 on the Premiership, and it's okay if we don't win a Premiership this season, but I do think there's a lot that has to go right with the fluidity of the team for us to match what we did last season. What we did last season with that squad was ridiculous. For me, because I never would have expected us to score the amount of goals that we scored and play the way we did. So to repeat that, taking out Xhaka and Jesus out injured, starting right now, where other teams know the way how we play, it's a dream. But you know what? There's nothing wrong with dreaming. Yeah.
But Vinci, what are we asking Declan Rice to do? What are we asking? To score goals? Give the assurance for Thomas Partey to roam and do the thing that he does. What are we asking Declan Rice to do?
I think we're asking him to play like Xhaka, but also be alongside Thomas Partey, because when teams like Everton in that midfield, they sabotaged him, and we couldn't get the ball out to your Odegaards and to Martinelli. But even though Martinelli hugs the flank, we need bodies in the middle of the pitch. And there was a perfect example yesterday where Declan Rice, he had the legs to track back, get the ball and stop, which probably would have been a certain goal. And Partey can't do that. So I think in that situation, I would actually prefer Partey to be playing at times ahead of Rice, because Partey's more of an attack. He's got, let's be honest, Declan Rice is a defender. He's a centre back who can play in midfield and has got some exceptional ball skills. But Partey, he can play that link-up play from defence, but he's also has a good eye for goal. So in transition, I'm hoping that we're going to see more goals from Partey, because if that pressure is on Declan Rice as a new striker, as a new midfielder, to score those goals, that's a big ask for the player that played for West Ham to come into this Arsenal team to do that. So, Arteta's got a lot to do with the formation. I've always said this is my biggest concern. I believe we should have two in the middle. And with Rice, I just think it's a work in progress this year, because it's a lot to ask.
Yeah. Glenwyn.
Do you want me to add to that? Because
can you hold? Yeah, just hold it. Glenwyn. Yeah, Glenwyn.
Yes. Yeah, look, for me, there's still a lot to do, especially when it comes to the middle three, Partey, Rice, and Odegaard. So if you play Partey in the Xhaka role, not Partey, Rice in the Xhaka role, you ask a lot of him because Xhaka has scored, what, 7, 8 goals last season from that position. Rice, even in a West Ham team, he didn't score that much goals. However, he was more of that midfield star in their team. With Arsenal, the pressure is so high already on the price, and now he coming into the Xhaka role has to perform as Xhaka did in the last season. I mean, cheers, Xhaka, you done well, but goodbye type thing. Now Declan Rice has to come in and either better that. It's a lot of pressure, and I would still have to bed him in that middle three because you don't have anybody else that can play there except for Trossard. Trossard played in the 8, I think, in the MLS game. He played very well there. For me, I would rather have a double pivot and put Trossard in next to Odegaard and give that sort of idea, whereas your two sucker left and right wingers come in and both of those two, one's maybe staying behind and Trossard per se go into the 9 role. So there's a lot of factors that you can take in, because especially with Trossard being such a versatile player, you can use him for any role in that midfield up to the front. I mean, he doesn't have the legs to track back like Rice might have, but he will give you those goals. He will give you those options. If he doesn't score it alone, but he will attract 2 or 3 defenders towards him, that the other 2 players of the wings can come in. So Mikel Arteta he had a plan A last season. He calls it now, it's a plan A1, A2, A3. Now where's the B and the C and the D up until Z? So and I just gave him, and I hope Arteta, you're watching, there's a lot of plans that you can have with Leandro Trossard. I mean, that guy alone gives you 5 options. He gives you 5 options alone. So with Havertz, sit back a bit, but if you want to start the season well and get points up on the board, Trossard is your man.
Yeah.
Good point.
But Apollo, you want to make a point before you forget?
Yeah, it's quite an important point actually. This is in regards to Declan Rice. So there's a few points. Number one, there's a misconception when he was at West Ham. He was a number 6. It was Souček that was playing the 6, and Declan Rice had the floater, what we call a float role, which was a sort of free role. He's actually playing that role now for Arsenal. So it's a sort of a 5-8 hybrid. So there were times, just like Xhaka, where we saw him playing left back yesterday when Timber got forward. Declan Rice slotted back into the left back position. But the difference yesterday from what I've seen, and this is great from Arteta, Xhaka last season was on an island up further on the field and had nothing to do with the build-up play. He didn't, it was Odegaard or Zinchenko or Partey bringing the ball in transition, not Xhaka. Xhaka got up the field early. Because of his lack of athleticism, it worked in his favour because he was able to be there and be a facilitator and support Martinelli. What we saw yesterday was something different. Rice is now staying at home because he's slotting back as a left back, and we saw him in a double pivot as well next to Partey. What this means is that he's getting up the field slower than Xhaka did, because and reasons for that is because of our shape. So our shape looked way better yesterday. We were more compact, and that was because of what Arteta did by design. Going back to Tottenham, every time Tottenham plays City, they do well. Why? Because they play a 5-man midfield. Arsenal don't do that. Against Man City, we're too free-flowing, and there's all these gaps open which destroy us. And we overpress City, and City are press-resistant. So what we saw yesterday was not a lot of pressing. The pressing was intermittent, and we stayed at home more, keeping the shape. And Man City found that difficult to break down.
But Apollo, I think one of the biggest criticisms of Arteta has been, I think Glenn just said that, is lack of, in game, when the game's happening, when it's rolling, can he adapt? Is there a plan B? to what's been played out in front of us. And
He
he's
did-
stuck. He's
yeah.
stuck on plan A until the cows come home.
So what we saw yesterday was plan A and plan B and plan C, and it's going to take me long to go into all of that.
Yeah.
But basically, we saw a 4-4-2 defensive formation. We saw a 4-2-4 defensive formation, and we saw our innate 4-3 the 4-2-3-1 formation. So defensively, he was playing mind games with Pep as they were switching when they was in press, and he asked Odegaard and he asked Havertz to press the top. When they got the ball into the midfield, he moved Rice around like a chess piece as a left back, as I said, and then as a double pivot to Partey. So every time Pep moved his players, Arteta did it as well. It's difficult to see, but watch the game again and you can see that Arteta actually changed his tactics 3 times in the game to counter what Pep was doing.
Let's see that in the Premier League. Let's see that in the Premier League. You know, again, that's his biggest criticism. You know, he's just got his mindset on the plan. Plan A has got to work.
Yeah. We didn't see that last season, by the way, Alex. Not once did we see him do what he did yesterday.
And I would, based on what you said about 90% of us winning the league, do you think that that's going to take away from the chances that we will score with Rice staying home more? Because when teams are attacking us, it's perfectly great, but I found at times it looked like we needed more support in attack. So, you know, that, and obviously more goals allow us to be more comfortable in possession and so forth. That for me is an area that's going to be a work in progress in how we get that transition, because, you know, neither, with all the skills that Trossard has and Martinelli and even Saka, they don't like to be isolated. They need support, they need runners. And if there's no runners coming there, then that's going to be I
can answer that, Vince. In those games, actually Rice and Partey, I think they could probably start together out of the 38 games. If each one of them stays fit for the whole season, I think they'll probably start together like half of the times. In the games like against Nottingham Forest at home, no disrespect to those teams, Brentford at home and all those guys, I think it's either going to be Rice or Partey, not both of them on the pitch. We have so many number 10 and number 8, like the Smith-Rowes and Fabio Vieiras and Odegaards and Trossards. This weekend, I personally don't think they'll start both of them. I think it's either going to be Partey just by himself or Rice just by himself, and then up front, Trossard and also Odegaard, and obviously the front 3. Now, the points that Vinci and Glenn have said about Rice probably being a defensive player and everything, that was West Ham. This is Arsenal. Like West Ham, out of the 38 games, they'll probably need to defend 28 out of the 38 games, going to United, going to City, going to Liverpool. For us, out of the 38 games, we'll probably need to defend like in 4 or 5 of them up against Man City or Liverpool. But all the other games, we expected to dominate possession and go full force and try and attack. Last season, we had a lot of games where we had like 20 shots, 25 shots, home and away, all those games. So I don't think we're going to have both Rice and Partey on the pitch. And personally, for me, if there's like Trossard, Odegaard, Havertz, Saka, and Martinelli on the pitch at the same time, I almost think like no one will be able to deal with that. Like Trossard going up front, they'll be marking him, Havertz coming next to him, and then Martinelli going to the middle, and then sometimes Timbers going and inverting from the midfield as well. Like it's going to be crazy. Personally, I believe.
But Glenn,
sorry.
Go on, Apollo. Go on.
And to top off your point, the reason why I said 90% is for 2 reasons really. The first reason is they're clearly yesterday the best 2 teams in the league. I mean, what they did yesterday, and other teams are looking in on that, that was a chess match. And that's why I was saying the fact that Arteta switched these play 3 times and it was a chess match between the 2, that showed, not just me, go to all the publications, go to BBC, go to Sky, they all talked about it, go to Talk Sport Radio, everyone can see what happened yesterday. Those are the 2 best teams in the league.
Yeah, but Apollo, sorry, just to cut in there, there's only one Man City. You know, whatever teams don't play like Man City. So are we able to adapt when we play against a Brighton, when we play against a West Ham, when we play against a Newcastle? And that's what the question is.
Yeah. We're better than all of those teams.
So say again?
We're better than all of those teams, and we've strengthened.
Okay. Kossi, I can see you personally getting Kossi.
What I wanted to say about Rice, first and foremost, is I remember reading an article from The Athletic when we signed him, and they said if for Mikel Arteta it was either Rice or no one. So literally for phase 4, which he actually he calls phase 4, it was Declan Rice. It was about Declan Rice, and the reason they actually put forward was he sees him as a player who's got a lot of energy and a lot of ability to cover for both Martin Odegaard and Kai Havertz. So I still expect Kai Havertz to play still on that left-hand side in the number 8, where Xhaka is. He's looking for that kind of Thomas Muller, Rome Toita, just goes into space, float into space, arrive into the penalty. If we had had a striker yesterday, I think Kai Havertz would have scored. I think if the attention was not on him, he would have scored, because he really understands space. The way he enters into the penalty area, the way he arrives into the penalty area unnoticed, it is something that I think all the goals he scored in pre-season, the one against Barca, I loved it, because Martin Odegaard is going to hit that ball, and any other player would definitely go for the same ball because he's taller than Odegaard. But he just gives himself an inch, and when Odegaard doesn't get the ball on, he gets it on target, but not enough power. He's there to finish. So I still think, like Glenn has said, Rice and Partey won't play so many games together. Probably Anfield away, probably Etihad away. That's when we will see both of them maybe play together. But I still expect Rice to be that kind of guy that just supports Odegaard and Havertz, because he's got the ability to do that. And then maybe also about adoption, I kind of feel like we were so much better than so many teams last campaign. Actually, when we went to Liverpool, I don't know what really happened. I think it was more of psychological rather than not being good enough at the Anfield. It's just something when we play Brighton, it was a little bit better. I kind of feel like Brighton really were good against us in the second leg. But many of the questions we had were mental, were psychological. We were so much better than many teams. So I kind of feel like we will dominate games. There's no question about that. We will be much better. I've actually predicted Kai Havertz to be our top scorer this season, for the reasons that
Wow.
He'll score goals. He'll score goals, definitely.
It's what I think. He really underscores his XG. He matters his XG, and you have so many players that do that in this Arsenal side. They need to improve. But because I think that is the way we set up, we've set him up to score. I really think he will score a couple of goals, like so many goals this season. But I just want to talk about Rice and the adaptation. I think we just need to do what we did last campaign, be a little bit better, score our goals, turn up when it matters. We will be all right. We will be all right.
Sorry, Cozy. I was going to ask you just a very, very quick question. Fabio Vieira, should he be coming in before an Emil Smith-Rowe?
Well, Mikel has already said that it depends on how a player is fighting for their place. I kind of agree to some point. I kind of disagree to some point, because if it's about fighting for your place, Reece Nelson last campaign should have had so many times when he came on, because he had literally proven that he's reliable when he comes on. He was direct and he would give us something different. Should Fabio Vieira come onto the pitch before Emil Smith-Rowe? In my opinion, no. I think Emil Smith-Rowe is the player that has given us that solid season. I've seen he's tested, and when we needed him, he actually delivered. I love Fabio Vieira. Like, he's one of the players I really love at Arsenal, and I predicted he's going to be our most improved player this season. Last season it was Xhaka. This one it will be Fabio Vieira. I think Mikel Arteta is trying to understand. He's starting to understand what Fabio is all about. He doesn't want to be your Odegaard. He doesn't want to be your Emil Smith-Rowe. He doesn't want to be in that mix of the midfield, your number 10, your number 8. He literally plays out wide. He wants to be out there wide, where he can watch all the action, where he can pick up those, crosses, half into the pitch. And it's not yet there yet. I don't know why he's actually taking so long. but I know he will come around. I said he's our Bernardo Silva, and I see him as my Bernardo Silva. If we keep on giving him those chances, he will come good. But for me, Emil Smith-Rowe, as a player, I don't think I don't think he's falling behind, and I don't think people. I agree with people who say sell him. His place has been overtaken by Trossard and Gabriel Martinelli. He's this and that. I kind of feel like he's got a lot of potential. He can play in that state. He can play on that left hand side, just like Fabio Vieira. He loves drifting out wide and doing his business from there. It will depend on the manager. If he sees that Emil Smith-Rowe is pushing enough, he had a very good campaign with the Euros under 21s, where I thought Mikel should have picked from there. Again, in preseason, it looks like Fabio Vieira is impressing. So for me, I still like the competition. I do love the competition. Last campaign, we were crying about if Saka comes on, if Saka is having a harsh evening, who do we bring on? We have Fabio Vieira now, not yet there to give us that Saka levels, but something different. If Martinelli doesn't perform very well, or probably Kai Havertz and Liam Trossard is playing out on the left, you could bring on Emil Smith-Rowe. So it will depend on the manager. But in my opinion, Emil Smith-Rowe, we know the potential. He's done it. He's got double figures in a single campaign. In a campaign where we're actually not that good, where we didn't have all this quality, we've got to trust him. I do trust him.
Right, Kosi, I hope you realise we are recording this. So you can't have it.
No, I know I've made some hilarious texts. I know some of those texts will sound hilarious, but trust me, one of those two, Fabio Vieira being our most improved player and Kai Havertz being our top scorer, one of those is going to come true, if not both of them.
I agree, Alex. I actually agree. If Havertz was guaranteed to play 38 games, I think he would be our top scorer. It's just because he won't play 38 games, but I still imagine he will get 10 goals and 10 assists in all competitions. And the fact that you had asked that question about Smith and Fabio Vieira makes me so happy. Meaning that we actually don't know what is going to happen, who's going to come on and where they're going to come on. Makes me so happy. Fabio Vieira can come on the right, Havertz can come on as a number 10, Smith-Rowe can come on the left. Makes me so happy that we can't predict who's going to come on. The opposition teams cannot as well.
I'm so glad you said that, Glenn.
Actually, Alex, last season, if Granit Xhaka was Robert Lewandowski, he could have scored 50 goals because he really understood the role of floating into space and arriving into the penalty area. He didn't understand the finishing. If he had understood the finishing as part of the job, like he would be immense. He would have been really immense.
Having said that, Kosi, sorry, Alex, I just want to add on to that is that if Rice and Havertz understands, I mean, you can see Timber already understands what is expected of him. You can see it in his play. If Havertz and Rice understands what the manager wants, they can flourish in any position, even in the best position that he sees them, other than what we see. The thing for Havertz, he needs to show more energy. He has not that energy that we've seen at Leipzig in Germany. He's not showing that much of energy. I feel Fabio Vieira should not be ahead of ESR purely because he needs a bit of stake. He needs to put on a bit of because I think it was against, what game was it? Against Barcelona, I'm sure. Can't remember. He came on the right-hand side and he won the duel, but he pulled out. So he needs to be confident in himself. He needs to go in like Saka did last night with Akanji. He take him out. And if Vieira is going to play in that position as a right winger, which I doubt he can battle Saka for, he has to be confident in his ability. But also he needs to go to the gym, he needs to put on a bit of muscle, he needs to get a bit of steak in his bum. And for Smith-Rowe, he needs to lose a bit of weight a bit. I mean, Alex, you've said it before, he needs to lose a bit of weight.
We don't need a striker, we need a dietitian.
So for me, Smith Rowe is an unpredictable player. He is a forward-thinking player. I mean, not one of our Arsenal players has what he has. He has that ability to change an defensive game into an attacking game, and that is what we have not had last season without Smith Rowe. Xhaka, yes, it was Xhaka, but Smith Rowe is that game changer if he's fit and if he's on his game. So again, like you say, Glenn, it is a huge, and it's a good problem for Mikel to have because he's not sure what he's going to do in transition especially in your lower end games, because your big games you already know what you can see what he's going to do, but with your Lutons, with your Burnleys, and your almost at Southampton, your West Hams, those type of games, he needs to understand what is he going to do with these new players in transition with the old.
Vincey, before I go into a live chat, I'll give you. You want to say anything before we go into a live chat, Vincey?
No, I mean, I'm just pleased that Smith Rowe's back playing because he's got the talent, he's got the goals from that season. The thing with Vieira and Smith Rowe is about fitness. Teams are going to be coming at us, and they've really got to be physically asset, not just one game and you don't see them for 3 or 4 and then come back. They need to have runs of games, and I think again it goes back to, if we take our chances, Vieira and Smith Rowe will get more minutes during games where Arteta's going to allow them to play, and that's going to help us because we need a squad this year. I don't believe that the 14 can allow us to challenge for on all fronts in the tournaments. We need a squad.
Yeah, Glenwyn.
Before you go to the live chat, we haven't had the squad to rotate more, but do you think the stubbornness of Mikel Arteta is going to allow him to rotate quite more often now?
I think he's asked himself questions as well as everybody else, and we have started to see some change in what he's doing. And you cannot win the league by playing guys 36, 37 games in a season, which is what we've been doing. I went through this before, talked to Alex about it in the chats and Vincey. If Man City on average plays 24 to 26 games a season, those are those Man City's players, and we overplay our players too much. But I think the point, I wanted to say my point in regards to Smith Rowe and Fabio Vieira. All of you guys said no, and I said yes. And the reason for that is because of what Glenn said. Glenn hit the nail on the head. You can actually play both, because the number 8 role acquires you to defend, which Fabio Vieira can't do. But yet the number 10 role provides you to be a creator, which Smith Rowe is not the greatest at. And we've seen Smith Rowe relieve the duties of Martin Odegaard, and every time he's come on in at number 10, he's not been a creator. He's more of a number 8, more of an Aaron Ramsey type of guy who would run into the box late and finish. And so the number 8 role suits him best. In the preseason, when we played Barcelona, there was a Barcelona attack on the right hand side, and they were crossing the ball in to one of their players to score. And Smith Rowe sticks out his right legs. He done a Xhaka. He came all the way back 60 yards and put the ball out for a corner. And it was like, where did that come from? But because he's learning the role in terms of how to attack, how to defend, and he's got the body to do it. Whereas Vieira is a number 10. He should be in relief of Martin Odegaard, and that's where I see his role. Vieira, guys, we can't downplay how much of a creative talent he is. He's a very good talent, but he just hasn't had the time to prove it.
All right, Kozzy, do you want to say something, Kozzy? No? Kozzy, you want to say something? No.
Yeah. I wanted to say something about Vieira. I think I'm one of the people who actually misprofiled him. I thought when we signed him, it was going to be like kind of Martin Odegaard. I kind of felt like it was going to be that kind of traditional number 10. But I think football has become different, and I look at back and I look at Gavi. I don't like Gavi, and I support Spain and have my own reasons. But I look at Gavi and I look at Fabio Vieira. If you play them wide and they are literally kind of inverting into midfield, you get the best out of them. They are so good. They're so creative. I kind of disagree as well with people who say they have to go to the gym. I don't know if I watch a lot of Spanish football where people are literally just like small and they use a lot of their brains. I kind of feel like we need that profile. I want to ask you guys, do you think we need that kind of different profile of a player? Rice is there, Partey is there, and they're physical and they're big. Do we need that kind of profile? Someone who can literally squeeze into spaces, someone who can just rely on his brain 100%. If it is not his brain, it's not working. Do we need that kind of profile? Yeah.
I think his brain is something that we need. The problem is in the Premiership, the opponents will kick your brain. They will kick lumps out of you, and that's the problem. Where we've got a history of it at Arsenal. Talented players who are littered with injuries, and don't get the protection. And we've seen even with Smith Rowe, he struggles with injury, and he can get up and down, he can score goals, but he struggles. So physically, it's not just about bulk; it's about being able to withstand the challenge, and the physical demands of the Premiership and the games. I mean, I love the technical ability. I'm a technical player when I played the game, so I love what Vieira can do. And Apollo's right; he can play that number 10. But even in that number 10 role, you see the way how Odegaard has had to grow in how he protects himself, and he's not afraid to put himself into challenges. And if he gets stuck in, I'm not sure if Vieira's at that stage yet. And this is something where, that will, if he does that, we'll see that technical ability, because he can. That left foot is beautiful.
Yeah. He's a Bruno Fernandes. That's what he is.
Yeah.
That's who he is.
It's something I wanted to ask you guys, because I remember Silva at Manchester City.
Yeah, he reminds me of Silva.
The small Silva, not David Silva.
Yeah.
And he wasn't the most of physical players. He was very press resistant. Even Bernardo, by the way, very press resistant. I kind of feel like if Fabio Vieira can just add that to his game, maybe not very physical, but can he be that press resistant? Probably be quicker in decision making, because he's not that fast as a player. But he's very clever. He's very intelligent. If he can be quicker, move the ball a little bit quicker, find that clever pass a little bit quicker. We've always seen those, glimpses of him. The Aston Villa game 4-2, that pass to Martinelli. He's very aware. He's very able to make those passes. I just kind of feel like he just needs to be press resistant. If he can be that, he'll be much better. Give himself space, probably not go players 1v1 with players, because you can't do that. You're not Saka, right? I just feel he's gonna come good.
He needs runners.
He lacks the confidence. Yeah, that is what it is.
Yeah.
If he has the ability, if we as fans sees the ability in him, why doesn't he see it himself? So he needs an arm around his neck and say, my boy, you know what you can do. Give him that confidence. Maybe it's the captain, maybe it's the manager, maybe it is whoever, but somebody must come and say, Fabio, you have this, you know what to do. Just, go that extra level, because if the talent is there, somebody has to bring it out on him.
Yeah, sure.
Guys, to go to the live chat.
Going back to Mikel Arteta and the way he rotates the team and his substitutions. He loves going for 7 substitutions, 80th minute substitutions. And at times when we pick up an injury or a player just runs out of form, the player we're introducing has gone 10 games without football, like 15 games without football. When you introduce such a player, they're literally going to be low on confidence. So I think Mikel has got to check on himself. He now has a bigger squad, almost 2 players per position. How is he going to rotate them? It's going to go back here.
Yeah, let's go into a live chat, people, for the first time. So we've got, I think, one of Apollo's and Vince's main people, Cam. Vince is the man.
Big up yourself, Cam. Love, bro.
All right. Emerson says, good evening, Alex, Apollo, Glenn Wynn, and the other 2. Yes, well, Glenn and Gozzy. Not paying attention. Anyway, the performance, we stood toe to toe with them. They didn't tour with us like they have in previous meetings. Even at 1-0 down, we kept believing, and before the equaliser, we were all over them. And John says, thank you guys. We need a super striker. Apollo, we still need a super striker, don't we? We still need a striker.
We've got Havertz, man.
Apollo,
I need a super striker. I need a super striker.
Apollo, you're mute. Apollo.
He was really getting his points off as well.
Yeah, Apollo.
It was deep.
Apollo. We can't hear you.
As he fixes that, I actually have a question on a striker as well. When you guys say we want a striker, are you talking about breaking the bank for a striker 80 million? Or are we talking about backup? Because personally, I'm talking about someone like a Giroud back in the day, that kind of striker, Jacob, someone who will come in the second half and different kind of striker.
Did we forget we've got Bello? I mean, we've got Bello. Have you forgotten about him?
I believe in Bello. I just don't believe Arteta believes in him.
Yeah.
And one thing that really shocked me when I was at the Emirates Cup and I saw the size of Havertz, and I thought, when you mentioned Giroud, and I'm
Can you guys hear me now?
of this guy.
Yeah,
we can hear you now.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Good. All right.
and it's like Havertz should be able to put his body around, like how Giroud puts his body around, and play that role, because Havertz he's got goals in him. So I just think I would like the comfort of another striker, because when teams shut us down and players get injured,
guys, I'm sorry. I don't think we need another striker. I hear so much Arsenal fans talking about a striker. I can't understand. Where is he going to play? We have Jesus, Nketiah, Havertz number 3, Trossard number 4, Martinelli number 5. So we got 5 guys who can fill in at the role. The problem with getting a striker in is if you buy one guy now, who's going to replace Balogun, because Balogun looks like he's going to be off. I would prefer to get KK from Napoli, an attacking midfielder who can score goals, which is basically what Arteta's trying to do. We've just got so many guys who can fill the role as a striker. The thing is, you have to remember, Havertz adds so much. When he was taking long balls, when City was pressing us and Ramsdale was going 70 yards over to him yesterday, I was like, whoa, we never done that before, and actually hold on to the ball. It reminded me of Giroud, because that's a dimension that we've never really had. And so that really impressed me. I think we are 5 deep at striker, and if we go and buy another striker now, that's a missed opportunity to get another attacking midfielder. Go on, Vincey.
When you say you'll be 5 deep at striker, some of those players are actually are subs for a Martinelli or are subs for Saka.
Oh, yeah, I know.
So you've got to factor in injuries, factor in the tournaments that we're playing, because if you're thinking about Champions League.
Oh, I thought about that. And the thing is, Vincey, one of my choices, Trossard, replaced Danny Welbeck for 9 games at Brighton and scored 7 goals, including a hat-trick at Anfield. The other guy, Havertz, won the Champions League with Chelsea playing as a striker. So it's not like they can't do a job. They can do a job. And we're talking about, guys, remember, we're talking about someone in relief of Jesus. Like when Jesus is back, he's a lock. He's in there. Yeah, he's going to play. The difference, what we're talking about by saying let's buy a striker, is we're talking about someone in relief, because I do believe, regardless of anybody coming in, they're not going to replace Jesus. They're just not.
And also system-wise as well. I don't think that's the system we play. We don't really look for a focal striker or focal points. We look for rotation, like that forward line rotates throughout the game. And everyone wants Osimhen, everyone wants Kane. I'd love Osimhen at Arsenal 100%, but in terms of system as well and breaking the bank for him, I don't think he fits into our system.
And why Glenn's right is because the system we have now is Jesus drops really deep into the midfield. When he does that, it gives Kai Havertz the ability to shoot. As a number 8, he then becomes the number 9. This system, guys, is very complex. It's very versatile. A lot of players can do a lot of jobs, play a lot of roles. And I talked about the double pivot that Rice has, left back, centre midfield, and number 8. That's his job, and that's why he comes on television, Declan Rice, and says, this system is really complicated. It's going to take me a little bit of time to get it down, because it is very complex. And this is why I'm talking about the striker situation. It will allow Jesus to come and drop deep, help the midfield win the ball, and then by that time you're going to see Havertz to shoot, and then he then becomes the main guy.
But do you know what? Just in regards to Jesus dropping back, I found last season there was opportunities where we didn't need him to be dropping back. You know, this is a problem where, you know, he puts so much on his body by dropping back, and he doesn't score enough goals for what his ability has. Yeah. So, you know, this is where fans, for me, say we need a striker, because if you look at a striker, how many goals is a striker going to get? We all said in our forum last season, 18 goals. Yeah. Jesus has never scored 18 goals in a Premiership season.
Yeah. But Jesus, and I'm not sure whether you guys know, mind you, you're true Arsenal fans, so you probably do know this. Jesus is ranked in the top 10 Premier League all time for goals and assists per 90 minutes. Not a lot of Arsenal fans actually know that. Jesus is one of the most top 10 productive strikers per 90 minutes in history. And not a lot of Arsenal fans know that. He does a job in there, I will find the thing. When I find it, I'll probably get it for the next show that we do, and we can revisit it. But per 90 minutes, he's up there in the top 10 Premier League history. And when I I did the show with Neomis last week, Tuesday, and we looked back at what he did every year, how many games he played, and how many goals and assists. I think this is the assists that we have to talk about. He's such a creative player. And when you combine the goals and assists, he is hugely crazy. There was one season at Man City, he played 44 games and was involved in like 36 goals and assists. I mean, that is bonkers. That is Alexis Sanchez type numbers. That's you know, it's this combination of play which you know you're going to get from him. And also, guys, something which I have to tell you guys in terms of, you're saying, you know, he might not be the right choice. He might not be, we have to do this at striker. No, we don't. Because last year, we broke a franchise records for goals scored. That team last year, which played with Eddie and Jesus as a striker, scored 88 goals. No Arsenal team in history has ever scored that much. So there is not a lot of changes that need to be made there, which is why I'm saying get another attacking midfielder in.
Well, I agree with you when you say get another attacking midfielder in. I think what you're trying to do here is literally what Liverpool did, because they had Roberto Firmino, and it was so vital to the way they played, and it was so good in terms of dropping deep. So they had a player in Mo Salah who could average 35 goals a campaign. So I kind of feel like you're right. If Arsenal are going to stick with Jesus, if we're going to stick with him because he's so good and he's one of the best players to do what he does, then we've got to ask more. We've got to ask Saka to double his goals, or Martinelli to double his goals, or we've got to bring in a player who can actually give you those crazy numbers, because you will eventually need them. I was actually doing a video about Lautaro Martinez to Arsenal, and I reviewed all the Premier League teams that had actually won the title in the last 20 years, and you look at each and every team, apart from Liverpool when they had Firmino, and Manchester City who have had Gabriel Jesus. All the other teams, Alex Ferguson with the likes of Berbatov, the likes of Van Persie, just poaching a striker here and there to win you the league. Vardy as well. So if we want to go the different route, if we don't want to go mainstream, we've got to find a striker, a player that can guarantee us those 35 goals a campaign, or probably 25 goals a campaign minimum, because that's what actually wins you the league. All the teams that have actually won the league, they have that player that literally guarantees you those consistent numbers. For me, 15 from Saka, 15 from Odegaard, and 15 from Martinelli. That might not actually win us the league.
So does that mean bench Jesus?
No, don't bench Jesus. Just we need to find a way of increasing one of the forwards. I don't know who gets into more goal scoring opportunities, Saka or Martinelli. I've seen more of Martinelli into goal scoring opportunities, because we were literally scoring from our left-hand side last campaign. If Martinelli, because for me, he's got the potential. He's a very good finisher. If he can double his numbers, I wouldn't really have a problem with Arsenal need a striker. Why everyone says we need a striker is, you look at those chances that just go begging, easy chances. Look at Erling Haaland goals last season. How many of those goals do you go, I can't score that? I really can't score that.
I understand that, but bro, we broke a franchise record. And on the flip side of that, just 2 quick points. Guna Matters talked about Xhaka scoring 7 goals last season. Before that, the most he ever scored was 2.
Yeah, true.
Declan Rice is scored 4 goals last season. He's going to come in now, and that position is going to envelope him. But here's the deal, guys. We should not be talking about strikers. We should be talking about defense, because that's how you're going to win the league. You break a franchise record for goals scored last season and didn't win the Premier League. Why? Because in the last 15 games, you had 2 clean sheets. Even with Saliba, you were still leaking goals. We fixed that. And remember, I talked about Declan Rice being in the double pivot now and not being a more of a stay-at-home player rather than shooting that number 8. And you can see the reason why that's happening is because we need to stop leaking goals. Guys, we're leaking goals. We're leaking, and you ain't going to win the league if you're letting in goals.
So are you saying that you're envisaging us winning games 2-1, 3-1 maximum? Because last season we scored 5 quite a few times, 4 quite a few times. In that regards, if we're going to go more defensive from a structure, with the players that we have, is naturally going to take away from that free-flowing, bursting football that we played last year. So you're saying our goal tally is going to come down because we're going to be more structured in our fence and in our formation.
Yeah, I'm saying I wouldn't mind if the goal tally came down. If we scored 80 to 85 goals, I wouldn't complain. It's 3 less than what we did when we broke the record last season, because striking is not my biggest concern. My biggest concern is we let too many goals in. We leak too many goals. And if Declan Rice comes in and he provides a stability, and Timber, I would start Timber over Zinchenko. If that stability with those 2 players come in, and it means that we get more clean sheets. Because remember, like you said, we had 10 clean sheets in 19 games away from home. And our home record for clean sheets was atrocious. Why? Because when we went home, we kept more of a cohesive shape and a better game plan. And when we were when we were away, and when we were at home, we played more free-flowing football and we leaked goals in. I can't remember the last time we had a clean sheet at the Emirates. So we need to fix that, and that's on the manager, by the way. We need to fix that and not be as expressive when we're at home. I know it's exciting. I know the fans are into it now. The 12th man is going crazy, and it's really big, and the players are putting fire in their belly. But we need to calm it down from a system standpoint at home.
Yeah, we need more.
We agree. We agree on something, Apollo.
Yeah, we need to have keep more clean sheets, and I think Raya comes in. He'll bring us that. No disrespect to Ramsdale. I think this is a sign of Arteta becoming ruthless, but I think he must be more ruthless in the complete sense of the team. You can't have your favorites like you have always. I mean, I see already Havertz is one of his favorites. I see Vieira is one of his favorites. Timber, I would love Timber to be of his favorites, because Zinchenko on that left side, Timber, like you say, Apollo, I prefer Timber ahead of Zinchenko there. So Arteta needs to have a balance in the fact of how we're going to keep clean sheets at home. Or not just at home, but clean sheets in general.
Yeah. You know, guys, our time is come to an end. I've been told to end the live stream, actually. By the way.
Hey, Alex, you should do what I do and put a padlock on the door.
Is she a Tottenham fan? Is she not enjoying this good Arsenal content?
Oh, God.
But you know what? We're going to have to do this. I mean, I'm thinking to do this collaboration once a month, but I think there's a lot in this one to extend and maybe do the next one a lot sooner than we first thought. But wait, listen, Vincey, Cozzy, Glenwyn, Apollo, guys, it's been an absolute blast to have everyone together. The legends assembled, man. It's been wonderful. Just one more question. I don't think we probably covered. I think Cozzy has actually told us that he reckons Kai Havertz, top scorer. It's been recorded. But Vincey, for you, who do you think is going to be the surprise package for Arsenal? You think coming this new season?
Well, I was actually going to say Havertz, but I'm going to go
No,
seriously because that's the only reason. That's the only reason I can see why we spend that money on him.
Yeah.
The only reason why. But I love what my client does, Martinelli. I'm a huge fan of him, and if he can go to the next level, I'll be made up. So. Yeah,
I think it's going to be Trossard. I think Trossard's going to be top scorer.
That guy's talk sense. Yeah, he's talking sense.
And for you, Glenwyn,
Trossard is my man. I mean, I can't drive. You know what? You of all people know that ESR is my boy. I love that boy. But Trossard, he's going to be the surprise package this season for me because. Doing what he did in the off season, there's no way that he can double that or even better that in a full season. He's going to be the surprise package, given again the favorites of Arteta. Havertz is obviously ahead of him in that, but Trossard is my man.
Yeah, Apollo, for you, man.
Yeah, as I said, it's Trossard. It's Trossard, man. They have to find a way to get this guy on the field. When he came in January, he had 10 assists in 10 games for Arsenal, and we benched him. And like I said, he scored 1 goal for us, but he had 7 goals for Brighton. So considering last season, as a creative player, he had 12 assists and 8 goals in last season. He's talented, man. That's Santi Cazorla type numbers. Alex.
But I thought you were say Declan Rice. We spent £105 million. Yeah. What are we expecting from Declan Rice?
I'm expecting he's got to find his feet into that. It's going to be tough for him because he's got
to be quick.
Yeah, he's got to be quick. Yeah. Because the thing is, you have to remember, he's been leading the league in duels won, passes intercepted, all those stats for 3 years. And we're asking him now to do something different. So it's going to be a translation. I just want him to fit in and make himself accountable. I wasn't Xhaka's biggest fan, and Xhaka was athletically challenged. He wasn't the most gifted athletic player. He didn't get beyond the line. His movement was poor. But defensively, Xhaka put in a shift. And so we know Declan Rice can do that, and he has so much more skills than Xhaka does. So he'll be fine, guys. He'll be fine.
Yeah. Okay. Glenn, for you, the surprise player for the new season.
So Saka will finish as the top scorer. Surprise, definitely Kai Havertz. I mean, Cozy mentioned it earlier, the positioning. I think he's going to get himself into so many good positions. Are people going to miss chances? Yes, Martial is going to miss a couple, Saka is going to miss a couple, Havertz is going to miss a couple. But if you get 4 or 5 chances per game, I think it's going to bang. And also, lastly, I know Alex has gone, but Mikel Arteta's assistant left recently. I think we have 4 candidates: Cozy, Vincey, Gunnar Matzes, and Paul. I think we have good candidates to become Mikel Arteta's assistants. I almost want to watch next time. I almost don't want to be in the panel. I want to just watch and just relive all this.
Cozy, I think we know. Kai Havertz.
Not really. I don't think. I'll be surprised if he doesn't score as many. So I don't think that would make him my most surprising player. I think the surprise package is going to be Jakub Kiwior. I think it will be Jakub Kiwior. He's one player no one talks about. But he's one player that if you don't play Julian Timber at left back and you want defensive assurance and you want to keep things ticking and keep things coordinated, he's one player we've seen in preseason, and I think he's really, really talented. Like the way he just passes the ball as if he's not a centre back. I love Bastoni a lot. But when I look at Jakub Kiwior and I'm like, give him 2 years, he will be Bastoni. He will be our Bastoni. So I think our surprise player this season is going to be Jakub Kiwior. I won't be surprised to see him be important towards the end of the season. Like, one of those players where you end the season and you're like, did he just play 28 games this campaign? I think he will be. I think he will be. Wow. He will be our surprise player.
Only because he just have to keep his foot. Well, the same thing that happened to Timber yesterday. He must just do that same thing. He mustn't bother with his shoes, man. He must leave it on the ground.
Yeah, and guys, listen, don't sleep on my boy Reece Nelson. Don't sleep on Reece Nelson.
Yeah. Well, He's got to stay fit.
Yeah,
He's got to stay
He's
fit.
got to,
Yeah,
he's got
gotta
to stay
stay
fit.
fit.
And consistent as well. He's got to find the consistency as well.
This excites me, Alex. Like the fact that you're all so positive. Like we were doing shows with you and Apollo last year, and our options were like the likes of Bellerin and Maitland-Niles, and we were doing shows with you. And like back in 2019, Alex, when I came to this show, like our options were terrible. So the fact that you're talking about Trossard, Martinelli, Kivia, like 22 good players, it excites me. I cannot wait for next season.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Amen to that.
On that note, guys, we've come to an end on the first back five or back six podcast. Guys, it's been an absolute blast. So let's make sure we do this again sometime. Vincey, nice one.
Yeah, blessings, man. Blessings.
Yeah, wicked.
Excellent.
And Kozzy, yeah, man. Finally got onto the channel, man.
Yeah, man.
It's good to see you, man. It's good to see you guys. I appreciate it. Always a pleasure to be among the faithful, man.
Yeah, and Apollo, do you not have any other away top you could have worn, man?
Nah, this is, I'm gonna, hey, by the time the end of the season comes, this is gonna be torn. It's gonna be having rags coming off it. Yeah, man, I'm gonna bleed this thing out, man. Yeah.
I will not buy that kit.
I've got it. I love it.
I don't know.
No vintage. Bring back the back.
We won't go there. Guys. So this has been the Back Five podcast. Make sure that you, I don't know, maybe check us out on a I think maybe another one this month.
Oh yeah. 2 a month. I'm up for that, man. 2 a month.
Yeah. But make sure you subscribe to Gunnar Matters. That's Glenwyn, somewhere over here. Apollo, Arsenal 1-1 and 1 on Arsenal. And of course, Glenn Knightley got to speak to the club captain, Erdegaard. The guy over there, somewhere over here. Vincey appears on Arsenal 101 as well, as a moderator as well. And of course, the last man in the house, wonderful content creators. So, guys, thank you very much. And this has been canon for the collaboration. I don't know, the channels for Arsenal fans, literally all.